So, dear students, this is Dr. N. Venkatachalapathi, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So, I'm going to discuss on swaying in forging operation. So, in general, the manufacturing process where we have discussed about the uh, initially metal casting process. Second one is fabrication process. Third important thing is that what you call the metal working or mechanical working. In that we have discussed so many extrusion rolling process, and in this unit to forging comes under the different metal forming or mechanical working of metals. So in this session, I am going to give the clear idea about the what is phasing and what is the importance of this phasing, how the principle of phasing operation, and what are the important advantages, limitations, and applications of phasing. Look at the main this presentation outline is the overview of the phasing. So what is the history? So when it has introduced this phasing process where it can able to produce some complex shapes also, what is the need and innovative automation, and what are the advantages and limitations of this thing, and finally applications of phasing. Okay, so I hope look at the main introduction of phasing. So in general, this diagram shows clearly the three-dimensional phasing process. So there will be, it is a four-jar chuck. You can clearly understand that the dies are open and closed. Whenever the dies, when you touch here, dies are open horizontally and vertically. It acts as a some four-jar chuck like that principle. The spindle rotates. The workpiece will be kept in between uniformly at the horizontal and vertically exactly the position which you are going to be fixed in this spindle only. So the term swaging can be defined as the term swaging, which is also pronounced as swedge. Swedge in the sense some bulk. You can see how you can able to perform a component with this forging or technique process, and it is a metal forming technique. So this comes under the metal forming technique, in which the metal of one part is deformed into fit around the another part by either pressing or hammering. The basic principle of any forging technique is like smith forging, draw forging, machine forging, etc. In this, swaging also comes under the metal forging. First of all, the part can be deformed to fit around another part by pressing or hammering. So by forcing the material through a die, small opening of die, that cross section has been reduced, the length can be increased. So this is what the basic introduction about the swaging process. So here you can clearly understand that dies can be opened horizontally, left and right like this, and vertically. So this spindle like a four-jar chuck will move up and down. Okay, and there will be motorized spindle rotates. The spindle rotate in a clockwise direction. So while rotating, how you can able to perform? So there will be the swage machine, feed bar or tube into the swage machine. So how you can able to fix in the swage machine or a tube or bar in order to fit in that swaging machine, so that the what are the shape or component will perform with the die form. Okay, so this can be either pressing or hammering can be done easily, so that the what are the shape or size can be easily performed by swaging operation. This is called metal swaging. Also we can seems to be it is a swedge also discussed. So coming to the history, so main history of the swaging. So during JZ started bringing to swage, so the scientist called ZZ in 2003. So in 2003, but it was not until 2007 that word started to catch on about. So initially the ZZ, the scientist called ZZ, he has started bringing to that word swag in 2003, but that complete swaging process, swaging technique has been introduced variety in 2000. It will take the 4 years to understand the concept of this phasing. That is why the word started to catch on in the 2007 only. Then up and corner, what you call that soul boy, just 17 at the time, was the first rapper to really fall for this stage. So the up and corner Soul's Boy, just 17 years at the time, he was the first rapper to really fall for swage. He only can able to do the exact what will happen this swaging, why I have to perform this swaging technique. So these are the some mechanics of swaging. Look at how this mechanism. So already you have seen in the three-dimensional figure, this can be converted into some front view. We can see the how the rollers will be fixed uniformly around that circular form. Okay, one concentric circle will be there. So that combination of rollers will keep it like a cage. It's like parrot cage. Here also the rollers can be distributed uniformly around that cage only. And here, what another thing, the rollers, the roll enact die stroke, and here that is what horizontal and verticals. How they can perform horizontal? These are the dice. Dice can be at the central level. There will be a mandrel, that hollow portion, and the next roller to attract the die stroke. So this is the mechanics behind this phasing means when it will rotate, this horizontal will become vertical, vertical will become horizontal, like that. The rotation can be obtained, and the rollers will be fixed together to having a uniform shape and size. And this phasing, mainly it is a metal forming technique where almost all that component can be transformed by hammering and pressing and forcing the material through a small opening called the die only. Okay, what are the shape of die? So in some extension, so like this shape, or some reduction in the other side also, how we will perform, where you are going to introducing the small opening of that component or workpiece. That is called this swaging operation. Okay, so this is the main mechanics involved in the rotation. So due to the centrifugal force, it will act upon uniformly. There are the series of rolls will kept at the cage. Each roll will move to the next, so that the uniform at the central, how the die can be opened, the small opening enter into that. So this is the best principle about the swaging process. As per the history concerned, Z has started in 2003 only. So when the word swaging can introduced effectively in the year 2007 only, and the first soldier boy has at the age of 17, he was first rapper to really fall on the swaging. So coming to the what is the main usage or need for the swaging process? What is the need and usage of the swaging process? Look at this, what how the performance of the swaging can be done easily. And a swage is shape tool. A swage is nothing but it is a shape tool, either some circular in shape and some irregular shape, semicircular shape, to transform an object shape into a desired form. So the desired form by bending or shaping, etc. Okay, so look at in this, there is a stages of the how we will perform the swaging process. So initially you can see the how this first before swaging, what is the position, after swaging, how the position of the equipment. Okay, and this is here how this is the example of how they can perform the swaging operation for the small changes in shape and size of the workpiece with exposing of the compressive forces. By applying the compressive forces, how it can able to change its shape depending upon its die and depending upon the usage of that workpieces. Okay, so this is what a swage is. The shape tool is to transform an object shape. So it is very interesting to transform the object shape into desired form by bending or shaping. Some small bending, also some shaping of the requirement can be obtained. Okay, and another thing, as a noun, swaging can transform a piece of metal to a desired shape through pressure of hammering. So whatever the metal piece is there, how we can able to have our required form of the shape, our required form of the desired shape by applying a pressure or hammering. So that this is what about the main usage of this phasing process. And phasing is also called it as a forming, metal forming technique that is used in a manufacturing industry to change the size and shape of the workpiece by exposing it by some compressive force. Simple thing what I am suggesting here. So whatever thing in metalworking or mechanical working metals, what are the amount of raw material will be introduced so that that can be changed the size and shape of the workpiece by exposing, by applying the compressive forces in order to have, suppose if it is a heating, the less force is required. If it is not heating, some cool phasing process, a lot of forces, compressive forces repeatedly is required in order to have certain size and shape of the workpieces. Most probably here the compressive force has been widely used so that the hammer pushed the workpiece into the one or more dies. It can process the one or more die. That is why there is a series of rollers will be kept in the cage, and what are the requirement of the shape can be easily obtained by this process. And this is a simple example of how we can able to perform a change of the size with the application of the some pressure with the compressive forces also. Okay, and all this material I have referred by this phasing study notes on the mechanical engineering subject. The Kalpakjam, the author Kalpakjam, it is a Pearson edition. So in this, a lot of some examples also has been introduced. I have collected some set of important points to understand clearly how the phasing, what is the usage and need for this phasing application. Okay, I hope the student is clear about this phasing process. Now let us see the what is the important innovative automation phasing. So traditionally it has been 2003 to 7. Automatically, manually, it is somewhat difficult to maintain that shape and size by applying the compressive force by hammering. So manually, it is not able to get perfect quality of the size and shape. Obviously, we need to go for automation. That too, innovative automation in phasing. So look at this is how they can able to perform automatically by fixing the roller and some Allen keys will be kept in order to maintain the how much shape is required. Like that, you can able to fully automated machine in this phasing process. Look at the step-by-step procedure of how the innovative automation is phasing process, metal phasing process. The first point is innovative automation has developed. Innovative automation has developed a series of manufacturing systems to support this phasing operation. So suppose manually we have suffered a lot in order to maintain the uniform quality of the object or component. But while introducing the innovative automation has developed series of manufacturing system to support this phasing operation. Phasing automatically once you have to fix and set up this rotation and how much speed it can be rotated, how much type of changes in the shape that automatically fixed by some controls. Okay, and mainly the output and capacity of these units can vary from lower volume, low force units to the high force units. So obviously, whatever the force has to be maintained here, you can able to set with this automated. But for normal phasing process, manually you can apply the pressure and force with the hammers and all. It will take a lot of time, and even you cannot control the quality of the dimensional accuracy. Obviously, this innovative automation technique has been most widely used in order to improve the low force units to the high force units, and that may perform multiple phasing operation concurrently. So manually if you perform for a shift very less number of operation, if you go for the automation, that to innovative automation, the multiple phasing operation can be done concurrently with the different type of applications. And third important point in innovative automation, mainly our high volume unit, our high volume unit for shift can able to produce a thousand number of components, and that machine that has designed to process 2 tubes per cycle. Okay, so per cycle, one cycle of rotation, 2 tubes can able to perform space together to tube concurrently. So that is why high volume unit is designed to process 2 tube per cycle, and still you can able to improve means 4 tube per cycle, 6 tubes per cycle, so that in a one short of time a lot of swaying operations can be done effectively. And finally, the depending upon the type of material, so this is very important, and depending upon the material also, either it may be ferrous material or non-ferrous material or ceramic material or even the plastic material also. So depending upon the material only, the system can produce the sways tube approximately for every 5 seconds. So that is what, if it is a ferrous metal, it will take a lot of time to do the things. So if it is some flexible material like plastics and some ceramics also, even less than 5 seconds also can able to perform this staging operation in order to change the shape and size of the workpiece with concurrently. Okay, so this is what about innovative automation is phasing process, where you can able to occur different type of components, especially the automobile and aeronautical applications can be widely preferred in this swaying process. So coming to this advantages, what are the different type of advantages and limitations of this swaying? Either it may be manual or automated, innovative automated swaying process. There are some basic important type of advantages, like it provides a high finish, that is good surface finish, high surface finish, and speeds assembly process. So by assembling manually, if you perform means it will take a little bit more time. If it is automation means assembly process will be within a stipulated time, can able to assemble the variety complex shapes also can be fit to each other easily to all the components, and even some wire cables and tubes and hoses, flexible tubings and rods can be done effortlessly put together. Okay, so this is what about the how we can able to provide the high surface finish. And coming to the next important advantage is it speeds assembly process. In manual, if you perform, it will take a less number of components can able to produce. Suppose if you go for the automation, at a shift you can able to produce more than thousand and more than thousand components can be produced at a time, and especially the components which will include this wire cable, tubings, hoses, flexible tubings, and rods. The tubes can also be effortlessly crimped together so that it can able to perform very effective manner. And another important thing is it less material is utilized. So whatever we are discussing, since the raw material is hammered properly, it is displaced longitudinally, unlike being chipped away and wasted. So here the utilization of raw material is very less, so that the different type of components can be easily performed. The amount of material here, maximum utilization, even less material itself can able to perform the variety of application, and it saves the labor. So labor cost also it can be saved. Why? Because here innovative automation can be used on some highly skilled operator is not essentially here. Once you have to set it thing totally automated, even a layman can able to, one human being is sufficient to perform all this thing process, and multiple machines which will corrupt several feeders and metal handling system can be operated just by one single operator. So only when starting shift starting you can able to perform automatically the 8 hours, no need a one human person is sufficient. It need not be highly skilled operator. Some layman can be able to put to only to change the material and change the metal handling system for that reason only. The remaining everything can perform effectively in this case, and it reduces the need for having an inventory. So this is how we will reduce the need for having inventory. Whatever the components can be produced, when you keep in a room and the storage and some place, so that need not be there. Whatever the component can be then, so you can able to hand over to the customer. So that is why this process can be utilized to swage to exact sizes and dimensions and finished product. A few components of the tools have been to be kept on hand for the operation and the control system. So that is why it will reduce the need for having inventory. Whatever they completed, immediately can able to transfer to the customer. And finally, it control the wall thickness. So the wall thickness of this swaging process by utilizing the mandrel. Swaging process provides more control over the wall thickness throughout the entire process. Suppose if you wanted to maintain the wall thickness will be less, spindle speed can be increased. Whenever the spindle speed can be reduced, the wall thickness may go up. So that is why the controlling of wall thickness can be maintained the speed of the spindle. So because it is a forge check horizontal movement and vertical movement can be easily performed, and whenever you can able to have such a controlling over the thickness, so this can be easily controlled. So all these material also can be collected in the study notes for the mechanical engineering classes. This is the reference we have collected. And coming to this applications, so even all these advantages like high surface finish, speedy assembly process, less material utilization, and inventory control of the wall thickness. Even some disadvantages also is there. The disadvantages means here the speed. Whenever you want to improve the speed, means automatically the power generation is required more, and you should be able to clean effectively. And whatever that need for having inventory, the space requirement also you should another important, that is one advantages. And controlling of the once you have to prepare the more speed, thickness can be reduced. Again, if you wanted to improve, it is not possible. So that is a disadvantage. Exactly how much speed is required to maintain the perfect wall thickness, you can suppose to use that same type of speed only. So that can control manually, it is difficult to handle. If it is automatically, means you can able to control the speed system with the maintaining the wall thickness. And coming to these are the some major applications in swaging process. So look at some different variety of applications. How the all these components variety, how the swaging process can be done. Four different type of components. So some fixing of the two walls and centrally like a knurling type of operation can be performed together. And this major application which involves in this swaging process is utilized in closed tubes producing tapering, some clamping steps to sections. So suppose if it is a plain one, once you have to fix it, difficult to open it and can difficult to do more tightening process. So if it is having such type of swaged components, even can easily open and you can able to fit effectively. Even the leakage systems also can be eliminated by adding such type of machining process. And manufacturing of many different section types, which is also possible either parallel or tapered. Not only this parallel, sometimes some cables and some tapering should be provided in order to fit easily, and so that while any leakage occur can easily remove by with the help of the some other machines also. The main application for this phasing is this tool shafts. Wherever the tool shafts can be one of the most vital used application, and some punches making some hollow portions and all this can be, and chisels by making the chisels by this swaging process, because chisel may be some uneven and tapered shapes also will be there. Whenever you wanted to have a some sharpen thing, the swaging can be performed in order to maintain the uniform thickness. That wall thickness also plays an important role. And some of the handles, some exhaust pipes in a IC engines, some two-wheeler and four-wheelers, how the exhaust pipe can be fitted together in order to avoid the some pollution, etc. And it is also having some cable assemblies wherever you can able to use some three-phase supply the cables RYB cables, so where you can fit these type of applications are most widely used to enter in the cables in effective manner, and some architectural work, some design. So you can see the simple, if you have some plain component, instead of that, how we can able to perform in a diamond shaped diamond shaped some attractive architectural work can be performed. It should be some gripness, and even by seeing the customer also, some attractive and finishing can be done effectively, so that some rust formation also can be eliminated by doing all those things. Even the cleaning also can be performed effectively by using some wire brush, etc. So that is why these type of variety of components also can be fitted together in this metal swaging process. So these are the some most important applications which are mainly used in this swaging technique, and especially the tool shaft, punches, chisels, some of the handles can be preferred in this process. And even though some cable assemblies in industries and all, there is a large diameter type of cables with three-phase supply and all that can be used in this type of arrangements. And some architectural work, some especially the civil industries and all, they need some architectural complexity of shapes can able to also perform in this swaging process. Okay, so this is what about the swaging, very can important in this manufacturing process. Majorly, the main introduction of the swaging is it acts as a like a four-jet chuck where the spindle can be rotated in a clockwise direction, and the dies can be opened in horizontally left and right and vertically up and down. And whenever that component, the swage machine can feed into a small opening where you can able to perform the changes in shape and workpieces effectively. And when you draw it in a front view size, you can see how the series of rollers will be kept inside the case and all, and what are the die opening can be performed effectively, and how it can be rotated. Each roller will come to the next roller. That is why this swaging is pronounced like a swedge. Swedge means some built up stage where the metal forming technique in which the metal of one part is deformed to fit around the another part. So how you can see how the one part can be fit to the other part by pressing or hammering or by forcing the material through a small opening called die. And coming to this need and usage of the swaging is mainly uh, this process variety of application can be used in the manufacturing industry to change the shape and size of the workpiece by exposing it compressive forces. You know the compressive forces means applying vertically. So up and down you can compress it. How the components will perform either some knurling type of components can be easily performed. Even the hammer push the workpiece through one or more dies, so that in that gripping also can be easily performed in this swaging. And this is called innovative automation. Nowadays it has been introduced a variety of applications where here human intervention can be eliminated. A very one or two members can be performed in order to changing the material, and only for atom transportation purpose only. How we can able to transfer the components and material, for that reason only human, not a high skilled person is required. A semi skilled person also can be performed for this operation. Okay, and coming to the advantages, it provides high good surface finish, that is dimensional surface finish. It speeds the assembly process. More production rate can be obtained by using automation, and similarly the material utilized is effectively, even a less amount of material can be utilized, so that more components can be obtained in this case. And it can save the labor also. That is why here not required for highly skilled operator, because it is innovative automation. Once you have to set it continuously 8 hours, it can run effectively until the material and supply can be obtained. And it reduces need for having an inventory. Whatever the combination of making of these wire cables, tubings, hoses, flexible, immediately it can transform to the customer only. You don't need to put in again stock room and storeroom because inventory cost also can be included. That can be eliminated in this process. And finally, how you can able to control the wall thickness. It can be uniform. Suppose if the wall thickness is not properly maintained, it cannot fit into that hose pipe and some tubing, some even rods also. So that is why if you are going to maintain the wall thickness effectively, what you call the rotation of the spindle will be done automatically, and the speed also can be do effectively. So this is what about the some important advantages and limitations. Limitations means so for controlling the wall thickness in order to maintain the some horizontal vertical spindle things, okay. And also here quality or dimensional accuracy can be maintained automatically. You are need to have some good surface finish and mirror like surface finish components can be used, so that time and money will be saved in this process. So finally, the applications in a spacing is most probably the tool shaft, some punches, chisel. Chisels means how we can able to remove the material, and handles, exhaust pipes, and some cable assemblies, architectural work. You can see how architecturally designed. So how the bolts can be fitted together easily, and while seeing the outside appearance also, it will be somewhat good architectural work, so that it will be attractive, and that is why they prefer this type of process most widely used in automobile and aeronautical applications also, okay. This is what about the application. I hope the student can understand clearly about this swaying process. And this topic is one of the most important topic in metalworking or mechanics working of metal. The student able to study for the semester examination purpose. Even sometimes they may ask some objective questions for the in competitive examinations like GATE and IAS, etc. Some ornamental architectural parts made by this swaying process, like technical answers they may ask for solving this. Okay, so this is what about the metal swaying. So in the next class, I'm going to give on another topic. Okay, so thank you, student. I hope all the students you have clear understanding of this swaying process, its advantages, limitations, and applications of swaying process. Okay, good luck.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.